Sven. Hi everyone. Hello, at the back. Can you come please here in the front? Because we were going to hide you from the rest of the participants. Flowers. Thank you everyone who just came on time. We're late for 2 minutes, but Donatas, you ready? Good. So as you know, we continue the workshop based on Futurepreneurs workbook and the idea and methodology. So as you remember, and those who has not been or missed any previous workshops, so we analyzed the problems what the community or environment or business has. Then with the help of the Donatas, and not this one Donatas, another Donatas, we analyzed what kind of minimal viable product could be suggested to solve that problem. And today another Donatas is going to tell you how to reach the first customers and to use the social networks as a tool successfully to identify, do you really create the value for your customers under the problem together, including your minimal viable product, is that service or device or whatever. So I hope that Donatas will share his experience from the previous, let's say, startup communities, what was dealing before and what he's doing now. So please welcome Donatas on stage.
Hello. Okay. It's actually nice. It's like spa, you know. You can listen to me and you can imagine you're in spa. So my name is Donatas from Unboxed. I'm a partner for last year. And my goal here today is to let you understand how I think, how we think, and what we do. And hopefully you can take that mindset and that experience and try to implement it in your daily work. What we do is we help brands and companies to talk to their potential customers and customers. So the value proposition, that's what we help them to communicate to audiences on social networks. So what I'm going to talk about now is Unboxed and how it works. And hopefully you can start finding yourself there and your product there so you can try and implement it in your daily lives. Then we're going to go through some examples of what we actually did ourselves to target our customers, potential customers, and it wasn't always that easy, and it's never easy. But hopefully, and then we can practice, split into groups, and you can try and implement it yourself. So you can see all the sexy brands that we have worked with. I love this slide. Why am I showing you this? Because credibility is very important. You can be the best person in the world. You can have the best team in the world, according to yourself. You need credibility, and credibility is built by people knowing you and actually starting to work with someone. And it's not easy to be on the map. Okay, so starting off, Unbox started off working with micro-influencers, running micro-influencer campaigns, which means that if you're a person on social networks, on Instagram or Facebook, and you have 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, maybe 20,000 followers, you can get paid for posting your opinion about products that you like and use. So for example, some sort of water or a new phone, you can touch it, you can post a picture or video about it, write text, and you get paid. And that's what we did worldwide in 3 continents already. From there, we understood that it's running such campaigns, which you can try yourself. Finding so many people to talk about your product is actually very time-consuming. It's very hard to manage. But yet it's so powerful. So the business model actually changed, and we understood that people can actually help us to drive social media worldwide. I'm going to talk about it a little bit later. Just so you can understand, there's micro-influencers are one of the tools to get people to know about your product. Anywhere, really. These are the people on social networks, and they're split into criteria. So micro-influencers technically are considered to be someone that has from 1,000 followers to 500,000. In our market, in the Baltics market, the usual range that you would work with is like from 1,000 to 20,000 or something like that. Would be the most relevant thing. Mostly this works best for B2C products, because this is something that people must feel. Just think about it yourself, you know. What would you write about the product that you like? Something that you can taste, you can feel, you can experience. So people can help you to communicate about your product, and then you pay them. So celebrities also, like, you know, Kim Kardashian and all these worldwide celebrities, they take money and they post about products on their social networks, and we are aware of that. But did you know that a lot of times they don't even know what's being posted on their social networks? And people don't really trust it as much, but yet it works. They actually have third parties that manage their social networks and manage the relationships between clients as well. So moving on, that's the difference between a celebrity is posting something about a product. Obviously the trust is low. They do have a lot of followers, but people don't really engage with the content that they post, because they post a lot and they post content that's not necessarily relevant to their life and what they do. So it's about money. Why micro-influencers are always the fit for your product. It has to be a fit, because otherwise it doesn't work. So if you're working with a health brand or something like that, people must be related. People must be into sports, into healthy food or whatever, and then when they post about your product and it's relevant, the trust is high, the engagement is high. But obviously it's time consuming to deal with 100 people versus one celebrity. So that's the difference. This is actually content created by micro-influencers that we work with. We do think it's top quality. Obviously, sometimes it's subjective. You can make your own decision, but nowadays, the tools are there. People can make really good content. And human content is something that we can relate to, is what drives social media. So here's how you really make a decision when purchasing something related to social media. So it is known that 92% of people would trust other people over advertising. And it's also known that on average, well, in Europe, it's about 2 hours a day that people spend on social media. In Asia, it's 3 and 4 now, actually. And we're somewhere in between when making a decision to buy a product. So what we've learned is that people don't engage with content that is bad, but people do engage with content that seems very human, that you can relate to, that is close to you. And such content is really created a lot of times by people that are around us. So from working with a lot of micro-influencers, we understood that we can create a lot of authentic, engaging, local, and trusted content. And by being local, we can work with influencers from any country in the world. And we thought we can run campaigns anywhere. How do we do it? So therefore, what we do right now, we help brands to not only distribute content, we help brands not only distribute content, but actually to create it as well via people. And you don't necessarily have to be a micro-influencer to create content. That's what we understood. You don't necessarily have to be a celebrity or have a lot of followers to create good content, to write good text, and perform some sort of tasks. So now we're outsourcing people to help us drive social media. So this is how it works. So if you create a piece of content, you can be a micro-influencer and post it to your own social networks to create influence about a brand, or the brand can use your content to use it on their own social networks. Okay? This is back-end, so we've created an application which could be used in any country, and just picture it, guys. You can perform tasks and earn money for it. I'm talking about this because, you know, we're solving a problem in the business, how to scale it, how to be more effective, how to be faster, and how to be global. So basically, people having the app in any country can perform tasks and help us drive social media in that country. I hope it's making sense. We can talk about it later. Why am I talking about this? Because the topic of today is buyer personas. When we're talking about customer value proposition. So this is our goal. So the right people are your buyer personas. So we want to give the right content to your buyer personas at the right time. And today I also want to talk about such thing called content mapping. And you can try and find yourself in it. And hopefully it makes sense for the product and for what you're doing. So this is just an example to understand and also proof of concept, prove that this business model actually works. So this is one of our clients. That's how their social networks looked before when it was done in-house. And this is actually done by 6 people, five or 6 people. And it's all manageable. Okay. This is very text-heavy, and nobody likes text-heavy slides, but I think it should be important to you. So this is the technique that we use to deliver messages to our clients, and it's called content mapping. And what's meant by content mapping is here you have your buyer persona. There could be a few of those, and we should be talking about it today, and you will be doing it later on in groups. So here's when you identify the geographical, physical, social, and other criteria of your potential client, what age they are, gender, where are they from, how much they earn, what are their values, what are they into, etc. And then you create a map of content to reach out to them, which means that there are stages. A lot of brands, the mistake that they do is they think that their product is the best, as we all do. And what we want to communicate to our clients straight away is buy, best, buy. And that does not work because trust must be built. And this is one of the ways to build it. So the first stage is when people talk about problems. So obviously, if you're creating something, there must be some sort of a problem that you're talking about. Unless it's nice to have, which sometimes also works, but you can still find problems. Then you talk about benefits and anxieties, and these are just an example. I don't want to talk about it too much. And only then you go in to talk about introducing your product and its features, and then you go into deals. Which means through the content you communicate to your clients, you go through these stages to build trust, and only then you go into potential purchasing. I hope it's all making sense. So this is just an example of a content mapping for one of our clients that were in the food industry. And well, unfortunately, they're not operating anymore, but they made some really nice food. So the idea was you get healthy people that are into fitness, that are talking about certain, consuming good food, the importance of healthy food for your physical activity, etc. And we were considering of getting micro-influencers from this field because they already have audiences that are educated in these topics. Then we talk about the problem, and then we move on to the solution. And this is all talked about on social media. The idea behind this is to communicate the whole content mapping parts to your clients on social media. I hope this is making sense. Okay, so anyone here ever heard of such thing called buyer journey? This is cool. This is our purpose, and that's our goal in a nutshell, what we're doing. So from the buyer persona and content mapping, we're traveling down to the potential customer. which goes to the existing customer base, and then we create the lookalike audience, and we repeat the cycle. Because your goal is, first of all, you have assumption when your product is at early stage, and sometimes even not, you create assumptions about your buyer persona, and then you test it. And after you test it, the goal is that you have to create lookalike audiences of the content pieces that work the best. This is how you look for your potential clients, and you talk to them. So, buyer personas. I was thinking of simple words of how to express to you what I think it is. So, what comes to my mind is if you're a musician and you're standing on stage, I think this is an example that a lot of people can relate to. So, you can think of what music, and I put music in commas because it doesn't necessarily have to be music. So, who would listen to your music? And your product is like music that you play. Who would you think would come back to it again and again? That's called retention. And then think of who would actually influence you to buy the product that you're making. Because a lot of times when we're doing something and we're really passionate about it, we think it's the best thing ever, but it could be a mistake and it could be wrong. Okay, so we make assumptions about our buyer personas. We make assumptions about our problems, about our product, and then we test it. And that's very, very important to test it. Obviously, your test, you want them to be converting into money, but okay, so assumptions play in a danger zone. Anybody have any ideas? Why do I say that? Why can your assumptions be dangerous? You want to say something. Okay, so when you assume, you're kind of guessing. Especially in the early stage, you're guessing, but it's good. That's what you have to do. Make guesses. Okay, and then you make a guess, make an assumption, you start testing it. You start calling different clients, potential clients. Anyone ever heard of a term called gatekeeper? Yeah? A gatekeeper can be someone in a company that gets all the calls, answers all the messages on social networks, and they get so many of them. And then you're just another email, you're just another call, you're just another no-name. And even though you think you're the best ever, they'd be like, nope, yes, nope. So there are a few ways you can try and bypass that. We've came across with gatekeepers, even recently, like hundreds of them. But yeah, so one of the ways is try to avoid the gatekeeper, once you identify the gatekeeper. The other way is to make love with the gatekeeper. Not literally. Well, that could also work, but I didn't say that. Yeah, so stand out. Just imagine that they get hundreds, 200, 300 emails, calls a day. How would you stand out? Do you think if you would write a sheet of text full of crap and how best you are, do you think they would read it? How would you stand out? What we try to do recently, especially on LinkedIn and other types of communication, personalize. It's really, really cool. You actually, if you spray and pray, if you copy paste text to a lot of gatekeepers, they're just gonna skip you. So you actually dig into what the actual person you're reaching out does. What are their likes, dislikes, where have they worked before? What about the company, and how can you correlate? Maybe you can find mutual friends or mutual connections, and you personalize. That really works the best, dealing with the gatekeepers. Another thing is credibility and trust. So when you have your buyer persona and you're targeting your customer with the product that you have to understand that if you're someone new, you're nobody to them. Think about it yourself. Some new brand or whatever comes to you and says, oh, this is the best thing ever. What would you think? Well, who else tried it? maybe you'd start Googling it, you know, is it on the map? And it's perfectly normal. How you have to think about these things. And maybe before even doing something, you have to kind of get your head around it and think of how can I get credibility and trust before I start to move on to potential clients. Maybe some sort of a reference, maybe some sort of a mutual connection that can actually help you to get it, some sort of a logo, maybe some sort of a name of a scientist or a university, you know? All these things bring credibility, PR, etc. That's why brands like Red Bull and Coca-Cola and everybody else, they invest so much into marketing. You see all these Red Bull cars, Red Bull girls, Red Bull boys, Red Bull this, Red Bull that, Red Bull in your life. And because it's all about credibility and trust. It's when people go to relationships as well. When you meet a person and you go into a relationship and sometimes you don't explain why, you actually feel close to them because in your back of your mind, you sense your parents or your whoever raised you. You sense it in a new person and you actually unconsciously go to it. It's the same with brands and credibility and trust that they build. It's just the things we see over and over again and hear about it. So think about it. How can you build that? And yes, the value of your product at the start is also an assumption. So you have to be honest with yourself. Does it solve a problem or is it really nice to have? And I hope you get the difference between that when something solves the problem and something is nice to have. For example, a lot of phones that cost a lot, for some people you may say, okay, it solves the problem for me because I want a very good camera. But when the cameras are actually really equal, then some brands could be just nice to have. Because of their marketing, because of the social credits that you get for having a brand new, shiny, whatever phone. But it's also a mindset. But you have to be honest with yourself here. Because from there on, it depends on what actions do you take. Another thing is timing. How many attempts do you think were made on creating social networks, for example? Facebook is a monster right now, right? Instagram is a monster right now, and there was Snapchat, etc. But obviously we cannot have the exact number, but there's been numerous of times where people tried to create a social network, when people try to create something like Pinterest or etc., etc. Timing can be something that can be explained or can be explained. You can get fortunate, you can get unfortunate. That's something can have to be taken into consideration. Some sort of events that you can launch with. Some sort of an environment changes or whatever. This can be either a bingo number or graveyard. That's probably for later stages, but it's also very important to understand your sales cycle. And you learn that by doing only. It's really hard to predict. So for example, we spend a lot of time in Asia, in Singapore precisely, and it kind of seemed like wasn't the best trip ever, and 3 months later we get a call. And we understood that in our business, which is very dealing with agencies, is quite high touch, and there's a lot of personal connection involved. And we understood that the cycle is actually a lot longer than it would actually feel like. And you have to take that in consideration, because if you expect this to be easy and smooth, if you're going in to create something, then I don't think you should be doing it. It's not going to be easy and smooth. And a bad person said that, mommy. He was very bad. I don't want to do it now. Okay. Yes, but it's not easy and smooth. But it's enjoyable. You know, you can say climbing that mountain is very hard, but if you like hiking, why not do it? Okay, so I've spoken about some things in kind of a theory level, and I just wanted to share some examples of how we approached our potential client in a very, very simplified way. So, okay, so we are people-driven social media, and we target, in a nutshell, two type of buyer personas. So one is agencies, marketing agencies that have English first or second language in terms of serving their clients, because that's important for us, that's our number one language. They have a social media and digital marketing focus, because that's what we do. If an agency doesn't do that, so that's the same as, you know, going to a grocery store looking for someone to fix your roof. And then we target positions of people in the agency that we want to reach out to get a deal. So head of digital marketing or head of digital, that would be someone we target. Head of social or social account manager or someone like that. We would target them as well. And then C-level executive, because we know we can help them save time and we can help them save costs. So we can just imagine that a CEO or someone who would not be in a very process level, they'd be like, I can save money, save time. This is interesting. Let's talk about it, you know? Or in terms of digital, so people will be running digital campaigns and they'll be like, oh shit, I have so much work. I have so much to do and these guys can help me save time. Yeah, let's talk. So we target them on LinkedIn. We target them on Facebook chat, SMS, whatever, and you reach out to them. Another thing is, in Western Europe, because it's a more payable market and we can offer them quality for, same standard quality for reasonable price. And B2C startups and SMEs, recently funded or are profitable, English first or second language, and we target the positions that actually deal with money flows or marketing. So just few of the examples of, we've been in Amsterdam recently, and I just want to talk about one example of how I actually got a meeting with a potential client. So you guys have seen the brands that we work with, right? There's quite a few of them. And you send a deck or whatever to a potential client and you expect them to actually look at it. The reality is not a lot of them would actually look at it. So you get connected on LinkedIn, for example, and you send one message. You've seen that it was read, no reply. You send another message. You've seen that it was read, but wasn't reply. Then you go and connect another 5 people in that agency. And then you just do the same thing, and there's no reply. Then you go into their Facebook chat and say, hey guys, what's up? We're coming to Amsterdam, you want to talk? Then you get no reply. Then you go into their web page and go into live chat for help. Pretend to be a customer. Hey guys, I need help. Actually, we're coming to Amsterdam. And fucking hell, we got a meeting through live chat, which was the last channel. There was another few examples where a person didn't reply for one message, another message, third message. Well, if someone is not replying, it doesn't mean that it's a no, right? So you just keep pinging. And then they replied, and it was one of the biggest digital agencies in Netherlands who sent us a message a day before we flew to Amsterdam. Hey, we want to meet. It's like, fuck. Yeah. Yeah, so that extra mile is very important. The way I see it, if someone doesn't say no, I don't know. Let's talk more. And if they say a no, they might reconsider in a short amount of time. There was another example when a person replies, not interested, to which I reply, are you personally not interested, or are you speaking in the name of your company? And there was no reply to that. Talk to someone else, we got a meeting. Just people can voice their own opinions as well. So that extra mile is very important, and your mindset about it is very important. It's just, what's a no? It's just, if someone doesn't want to speak to you, there will be definitely someone that wants to speak to you, and one opinion is not, it does not say anything yet. So another thing we've decided to do and kind of hack the market, the new market that we're entering with, we're like, let's try and host a meetup. You know, meetup.com and all the things like that, which kind of unites experts from certain fields. So we found few people that are actually hosting meetups in this field, and we made a test. Pretty good. People showed up. Cost us like 200 euros to get some drinks, to get a venue. People came in. People are curious. And we were like, okay, would this work? Obviously, but then you go and you give them education and experience about the market that you're good in, or the knowledge that you have in a specific field. And you don't say, I'm here to sell. Here, take my product. Once you leave this room, it's $5.99. So this is like educating and sharing knowledge. And, you know, it's the same feeling of someone is forcing something into your head. You kind of back off. And when you're giving to someone, the odds are a lot higher that it's going to come back to you. For some products and some people, you know, depending on what you're selling, if you're B2B or B2C, you don't probably necessarily have to get your feet in some sort of a market, but it's very unlikely that you're not going to get to meet people physically. And you should not avoid that. You can just think of a difference when someone is talking to you with text, or someone that is speaking to you live, or someone that comes to your country from somewhere else to meet you about something that's important. Physical contact and physical presence when speaking to people, when testing your assumption or whatever, is very, very important. Laurine, could I get some help with the videos? Okay. We just want to show you a few examples of, we were going to Amsterdam, and we were also pinging a lot of agencies on LinkedIn and other channels, and we paid for these ads to target. We targeted them with the ads, so they would see that we're serious on this.
To manage. In short, we do. Hey, you must be a part of an agency, right? Just skip this if not. I know you spend a lot of time on social media to serve your brand, and it's not always as profitable. From micro-influencer marketing to content creation and distribution, we can help, and we have a unique way of doing so. To find out more, click on this high five.
Okay.
Hey, you must be a part of an agency, right? Just skip this if not. I know you spend a lot of time on social media to serve your brand, and it's not
engage them in ways that others don't. So if we could just go to another video. We try to be funny. And we try to be different. So once you open an ad, you'd expect someone to say, hey, my product, buy. And we were like, okay, what should we do? And actually, we don't know what the effect, what's the effect and what's caused by this.
I'm Donatas from Unboxed, and we specialize in micro-influencer marketing.
It's okay.
With over 500 campaigns.
Okay, you get the idea. We try to walk that extra mile here and get some more attention. It cannot be really measured, but you can target whatever, Facebook ads to any location that you want. You can target your Facebook ads to the building that you want. So our idea was, we're going to visit marketing agencies, and we're reaching out to them on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and everywhere, and we target the ad in the location that they're in. So they get to see our face and our message everywhere. Oh, talking too much. Any questions? Ask anything. Is there anything you'd like to ask? Yeah.
I wanted to ask about co-hosting events, right? What about the people who are coming? Usually those who are coming to free events, are they your potential clients or market? How do you deal with that? Was it successful in your case?
It is a little bit too early to estimate if it worked, but we have 3 leads out of it. Like some of them work with Philips, some of them work with other brands, some of them, there's even discussion for them being like a solo entrepreneur to go and do what we do and get a cut for it. But the audience in general, I would say half of it was relevant. The other half were either fishing or looking to do something with their life, but overall, it worked out. But then again, we didn't even spend much on it, so I would say it was a huge success. And kind of getting credibility via educating, I think it's the future. Because a lot of people, that's what they do now. They just give free education, share their knowledge. But, you know, if you said like this, I'm not going to tell anyone how we do this. There's too much information out there that is easy to reach, unless, you know, you're creating something, I don't know, you can't really talk about, but that's very unlikely. So I think it's a very good form of actually getting potential leads, showing that you know something. Even you can even try and host an online workshop for people. That's the next thing we're going to do. Anybody else? Would you like to ask something? No? Anything? About food related, or what I do with my dog that I don't have? And okay. Cool. I was thinking that we should practice a little bit, and I'm assuming that a lot of them already have been talking about problems and MVP, so probably you have things in mind. I'm not sure how we can do the logistics here, but I think that learning without doing is very, very bad learning. And I don't like to talk about it too much. So how many people do we have here? In groups of...
How many the groups or startups are here? So Antanas, you have 2. Can you group yourself with your team members? So we probably do not want to mix the other ones. Okay.
Cool. Can you please group? And and other people that are not in groups, maybe you can join groups when you identify them? Whoever doesn't have a group, can you come here? Whoever does not have a group, then we'll form a group here. Cool. Cool. Tai čia gali būti ir grupė, ir viskas. Cool. Tai paskirstysi gerai?
Grupės neturi apskritai ar šiandien? Šiandien.
nes labai tas dar nepaliesta yra ir nuo 21 tas plastic ban, single use ateina, o kiti daro tokius oro gaivikus, fully recycled.
Viskas? Aha. Tai kiek yra grupė? Dešimt? Okay. 10 grupių po 5 minutės. Tai gerai. Dabar. Okay, so we have 7 or 8 groups, something like that. Hopefully, by the end, some of you guys would come to share what you came up with. So can we just, whatever the product is, can we just think of but don't overcomplicate it. Try to explain everything in as less words as possible, but like really as less words as possible. So first thing is you define your business model, and I'll show you how it can be done. Define your value proposition, and then potential risks. It can be few bulleted points. Then you assume and craft your client personas. 1, 2, 3. You guys, did you all understand you understand the definition of client persona? It's like the potential client. I'll show it on the content map. And then, as I saw in the workbook, they're to project their potential market. If you have done work on it, it would be easier. If you haven't, don't spend too much time on it now. I would focus on the other things a lot more because it's very good practice. So also, it'd be really cool if someone actually had the guts to call the potential clients today and get some feedback. But I'm not sure how we are on time. So, okay, so the business model, you probably have worked on it. You should simplify it, break it down, and just answer yourself, how does it look like? So either if you have a business and you do a direct sale to your client personas, then you get the money. Or maybe you have someone in between that sells it. Is it B2B? Is it B2C? I think these are the most important things to understand. Is your business B2B? Is your business B2C? And what are your client personas? I think it would be the main exercise, and it's very useful. So this is from our pitch deck, actually, how we define our potential market to the investors that we pitch. So I thought I'd just share it as an example of, this is only one of the ways that could be done. And anyway, anything that I say today is just it's an opinion based on experience. You find your own ways. So this is when I spoke about client personas. So this is what you should consider. I think, this is the most important part, where you talk about what are their potential age? What is the geographical and sociological, whatever? What are their values? Just think about things like that. Try to define your potential buyer. Try to be your potential buyer. Okay, so is it clear now? And we have half an hour, maybe 20 minutes on this. And please, if you want my opinion, just call. I'm happy to talk. Let's do it.
Who needs a paper?
susitari kažkokį tai jo įdomu, siūsim kažką, bet taip nieko ir neįvyksta. Važinėk, ne, čia labai įdomi vieta.
Atvarai, susitari, viskas cool,
Jo.
važiuoji.
Nieko, skambini, nekeli. Sakai, atvažiuoji.
Turiu tokią naujieną, kokį nors dar bairį tau. Kiti panašu. Paskambinau, taip padariau, kad tas čiūvas, kur man stabdė šūdą, paskambinau kitam čiūvui, sakau, atsimeni, kalbėjom, turim naujieną. Ir kažkaip ten
Suvedė, žodžiu,
kažkaip-
tiesiog.
vieną kartą pafeilino, dabar grįžom, vėl parašau.
Dar, žinau, vieni daro, kai maždaug net nesiskambina, tiesiog nuvažiuoja praktiškai prie žiūrėk, aš pasiūlys esu. Vieni lietuviai savo, kas veiks, bet norvegai savo, kad ne. Irgi priklausytų, kas važiuoja pas mane. Bet šiaip labai, iš tikrųjų, įdomu, dar visi dažnai tokius ir renginius daro.
Tai pasikvies mane, traukia, ką ir jūs ten darote.
Papasakos, realiai čia Lietuvoje nelabai yra alternatyvų, realiai ten nežinau.
Suriuos, ką gerai, aš varysiu toliau, Donatas Smogis.
Donatas,
So, yes, this evening is coming to an end. And it's always good to practice and talk publicly, because when you talk publicly, it's more than a mental challenge than it is actually a challenge, but it's good because once you get the spotlight, you concentrate more. Sometimes you talk less, sometimes you talk more, but it's a good challenge. Sorry, drugs. So, who would like to try and speak of what you were thinking about recently? Who would like to go first? The idea is just to talk about your business model, talk about your client personas, and then answer some questions to people that will ask you. Can I just point? Can you guys go? Yeah? Let's go. So the practice test looked like this.
Okay, so we no, it's okay. I can do it alone. Yeah, sure. Okay, so we're doing these carbon, kind of carbon. I don't know the word in English. It's maišelis bags. Yes, correct. I've written so much messages about it and I forgot anyway. So we are making these bags that have carbon inside of them, and it absorbs smells and other harming chemicals from the air. And we believe that it is very important for the people who are, actually caring about our environment, as it is like very environmentally friendly, as it has zero waste and it is reusable. And it does not have any harmful chemicals in it as other products that mask smells have. For example, the ones you use in your car to just mask the smells in your car, and therefore we believe that our product would be a great solution for that because it is zero waste, and we believe that our business model should be concentrating on such companies that do ecological things and concentrate on providing zero waste products for the people interested in such like socially responsible activities, right? And we believe that our business model should be B2C, as we discussed it already, because it would be really hard to sell these bags just to separate customers. Also, we believe that our value proposition would be like zero waste, ecological things, and absorbing smells rather than masking it, because many people don't like the smells in their cars that other like masking, other products that mask smells have. And we believe that absorbing smells would be a great thing for those people, and not only for those who would be interested in zero waste and ecological products. And also, we talked that our client personas would be like those who would be interested in such products that are ecological. But we still believe that there are many people who would be interested in it, even if they don't really care about zero waste, because many people are interested on just absorbing the smells and don't care like if it is ecological, right? We believe that if you are using it in the fridge, for example, right? So those people who have these smells would be interested in it anyway, and wouldn't care actually about if it is zero waste. And therefore, we believe that the business to customer would be still like beneficial for us. And yeah, so the potential size of our market would be like the people who are following such companies as urban earth lovers, right? Who we believe would be interested in selling our product. We have already written the messages, and they agreed to like talk about it with us. And also there are many like physical shops, right, who are not just online shops, like Biosala, and we believe that they would be interested in selling our product either. I believe that's it, yeah.
Any challenging questions? No? Yeah?
Yeah, thank you for the presentation. My question is about application of your product. So you said it's a bag that absorbs the smells. So apart from me carrying smelly things in that bag and not releasing the odor outside, that's one application. What are the other applications? You said the cars and harmful chemicals and everything. So how would you hang the bag in the car and so on?
Yeah, I believe that it was the same mistake we did like presenting for you, because you understand that it is like a bag you have to carry things in, right? But it's not like a bag you put things in. It's a bag that already carries carbon inside of it. So it means that it is like a small thing, and therefore it absorbs smells in like a wider area. And we would use it in a sports bag that has, well, not good smells sometimes. Also, it can be used even in shoes, as it is not as big, like you can fit it in a shoe. And also, it can be hanged in a car and in a fridge, as you have many products that does not smell there sometimes either, and we believe that it would be a great like solution for that. So you can open your fridge and don't smell like these harmful smells that you don't like. Okay. Yeah, so like first of all, these things usually carry some harmful chemicals in it. Like there are esters that are harmful to human respiratory systems. So our product does not have that. Also, not all people like these smells these products have, right? So you cannot suffer from the smell it just provides, right? As it just masks odors. And our product absorbs it, and we believe that it is very more useful for people. And also it is zero waste. So for the people who care for the environment, I believe it would be like really great.
Thank you. We have to give time for more teams.
Yeah, let's go. Who wants to go? Good time for practice. Come on, stand up and go. Who else? Let's go. Can we try to fit in like 4 minutes or 5 minutes?
Hi, everybody. We are basically developing an area, ex-military site in Kaunas, Šilainiai neighborhood, which is an multi-story post-Soviet district. The district really lacks green spaces, and that would be useful for community in one or another way. So there is this space right next to the site, and it's not adapted to community needs. There is an existing small senior community that grow food there, and they would like to continue doing so. So we would like to develop an urban gardening co-working space in this area. So we would provide 2 types of services. So you could rent prepared raised beds and come, and all the water and other services would be there, and spend time and grow food for seniors, community members, young families, and also schools. We have 10 schools and 10 kindergartens in the area. Also we're going to do special social events and educational events, skill sharing from the senior gardeners that are already there, that have the skills and time to spend, to share. What else? Define groups, I did that. Business model, risks. We have quite a few risks. It has never been done in this neighborhood, so we're assuming a lot of things. We're assuming that people will want to spend time. Also, how can make it sustainable? Can we ask financial contribution from schools? Who's going to fund this? There's also community dynamics. That people need to get along very well, or I don't know. I guess maybe I said enough. Client personas. So seniors in the neighborhood, living in the vicinity, they're retired, they live off their pension, they do not have a collective garden to go to. They love gardening, and they currently spend, in warm season, at least 4 hours per day in the gardens, and they're currently doing so in the area, and they would like to continue. So these would be the people who participate. Then second persona would be a young family with a child that goes to kindergarten locally, or maybe doesn't. The father works, the mother looks after the child, and they lack green spaces to go, to play, to have a meaningful activity together. And also local schools, so that's other persona who would again have an opportunity to, so local schools, teachers who are looking for other ways to broaden their educational services. Well, their lessons, sorry.
Thank you.
Questions? It's the first time I'm talking about it to a group of people who don't know, so that's really... There's around 50,000 people in the neighborhood. that's roughly I'd say the market size. But also with educational services, there could be people from all over Kaunas and other cities coming, if that works well.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Let's go.
Yeah. So,
Anybody else?
who else? Stand up. Yeah. Antani? Your team has done something?
Yeah, our team did a very good thing, but Milda, she's too afraid to talk about it.
So take Milda with you, and she will speak. Yeah.
Cool.
Hello. So my idea is to build it's called already a fashion styling space. And it's a space which connects young fashion designers with stylists. The idea is to build like a career bridge for young designers where they can upload their work and be found by fashion stylists who lack of time and also would like to sutaupyti, to save money and time searching for new designs for photo sessions, for editorials, for TV shows. So this platform should include designers not only from Lithuania but also from abroad. And the fashion stylists could have like a database where they can choose designs for their photo shoots according to the theme. Okay, so the risks. The main risk would be logistics, because it's quite difficult to manage that every design piece from abroad would be on time, and another risk would be to manage that all the stylists would bring back the pieces not damaged. So the client personas are two target groups, designers and stylists. And potential market size, it's quite difficult to define now, but all the students from fashion faculties and all the stylists from our country and abroad.
And business model, so how you get the money? You can ask. I thought that I missed something. How you get the money? So who's paying for what?
Designers are paying for, like they pay when they upload the designs. For instance, 10 different pieces, like 10 euros per month. It's like a membership fee. And the stylists, they pay only for like administration fee for the logistics.
My question is about how you're planning to reach all these fashion industry giants, and anything comes to your mind, because the platform people uploaded and you need to
yes, with the
somehow,
marketing strategy, but mainly the young designers, they can be reached through institutions where they are learning. From universities and colleges. So I would simply send directly to those institutions the information, then they can apply. And yeah, it's more difficult to find those stylists.
Cool, thank you. Yeah, I encourage everyone, if you have something, you speak about it publicly. It's really good. It's very good practice, isn't it? Yeah. Anybody else who would like to speak about what they want to do?
So I'm also in the other team. So my name is Antanas, and me and my team, which is not here today, we're doing a project we call it Futurepreneurs. So they figure out to do a program, an application where they could like information for customers, consumers, how to recycle. Because we have a lot of different packaging all around us, and only part of it is recycled. So it's like just a database. We hoped in one day to connect it to shops like Maximo, etc., where they have this customer card. So each time you're buying your groceries, you just use your card, and then your application sees what kind of packaging you're bringing home. So when you get back home with your bag of groceries, you get a message, hey, you have 2 bottles of glass, 1 plastic thing, and 3 bags, so you should do this and that with them. So this is our business model. So our value proposition is that we looking at recycling things. Because right now we already have a good recycling system like Taromats, and we have all kind of businesses who work with recycling. But it still happens so that we still find a lot of trash like in the forest and etc. And it's only because of inconvenience how to bring the packaging to the recycling points. So we hope to work like a communication bridge which helps customer to find the right spot where to put their trash in. So the risk is that we may not track all the packaging which is going around, and we may not get all the support we need for this thing. But it's for the way how we execute the thing. And our client personas, first of all, the businesses who work with recycling. So there is this group of people who call themselves My Precious Plastic Group here in Lithuania. They are working for this building recycling facilities, and they need to one type of specific plastic for them. And we have 7 types of plastic in the market, so we divide our client personas on this specific type of plastic they use for recycling. So basically we have 7 client personas, and only 5 of them need real attention from ours. And potential size of your market in Lithuania, so we have like 3 or 4 or 5 major recycling facilities and a few smaller ones. But if we talk about the size of the recycling, so we get around 300,000 tons of recycling material every year. So this is our market in Lithuania. About risks? So yes, it's execution, because we have to get into like with Maximo in their database, and there's data protection laws. Also, we need to build the application, which is quite difficult, to put all the dots in the map, and there's a lot of things to do.
Cool. Thank you. I think time is up. No call is past midnight, please. Yeah, so LinkedIn, email, let's connect. I really hope this was useful in some ways. Maybe you found some information, maybe you met someone, maybe you have a thought that's already like a seed in your brain and it's growing and hopefully matures to something more. So thank you.
Thank you, Donatas. So I've seen that somebody took pictures of the slides. They will be available online on futurepreneurs.eu website, so don't be afraid, you'll find the PDF versions on our website. What next? So next Wednesday, we're meeting here again at 4 p.m. That will be 13th of March. And there will be workshop on financials, and there will be Audrius Miliukas from Open Circle Capital. So thank you for today. Have a good luck and good job on your projects.